was not present because, of course, he was at the diplomatic center, and I have not spoken with him about my deep concern. But my personal feeling is that this is a very untenable situation. Of course, I recused myself from the meeting because, for obvious reasons, to afford them, I laid it out, I laid the scenario out, and I afforded the deputy chairman to lead that meeting so that they can come to their own conclusions. But my conclusion is that I cannot see how the COP can remain part of this organization.
Mrs. Dyer-Griffith, your next course of action over the next few hours, the next few days?
Well, my immediate course of action would be to have a conversation with Gary, because I haven't seen him as yet, to discuss these issues and to ventilate and for a debriefing to take place. And then probably just, we would have a conversation moving forward.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Nicole Dyer-Griffith, speaking with us on our panel this evening. It must not be an easy situation now that the political leader Prakash Ramada has been put in.
But this is more bloodletting. It is blood on the floor all around. It's just a huge political bloodbath. And we have to accept that. We can't dress this up as some inconvenience that arose out of an allegation about a witness statement. The outcome is a huge political bloodbath and a concession by the Prime Minister that it raised integrity issues and protection of the public interest. And another thing that concerns me, and it's been happening all of the time, they are putting, rightly so, they are putting on, all of these people in public life are putting an obligation on appointees to make a clean breast of anything that might be a problem later on. And that is so. But when you're appointing anybody, whether it's a human resource, when you're investing money, you're taking over a company, there's a little thing called due diligence. And the person who is taking on a human resource or buying over the company, as the case may be, or buying the shares, is supposed to conduct their own due diligence. So we had a situation with retired Justice Ventor, where no one knew he had to go and give a judgment. So he jumped in and jumped out of the Integrity Commission, and people put all the blame on him for not disclosing. But what about the due diligence that is supposed to be conducted by the appointing authorities? But if, of course, you have to swing around and appoint people in a crisis situation or to satisfy some political demand, there's really no time to do any due diligence at all. And that's another thing that is a subset of the integrity issues. What are the rulers of the country doing to perform their own due diligence on the people that they bring in the fold to seek the public interest?
So, Niti, what are the political repercussions of all of this?
Just instability until, if it wasn't a couple of weeks of Carnival, we probably might have heard that we're going to elections. But what might have stopped that, though, is the government is not ready. It is clear that these things are happening in a manner that is unbalancing the government. Michael Harris called it right, I thought in his column today, that what we have is an implosion. The word of the night is revoke. Cabinet now has a revolving door that is bigger than the one before. When we calculate the numbers of people who've gone, it's not pretty. And so in this situation, with the economic issues that are emerging, with all the instability that will come from new ministers, by the time they settle down, they're out. Or, it's an election. Those issues are going to put us in such a state of instability. Nobody's going to get the benefit of being taken seriously as a minister. Everybody's a lame duck right now, because you're going to think that by the time you get anything going with them and you get a meeting and you sit down and talk, it's election and everybody's out. So I think that what the outlook for the next few months is instability. It will be up to the population to ensure that the instability within the ruling party and within the government does not translate into instability in the population. It will be our responsibility to hold this country together despite the apparent mishaps, mistakes, whatever that is at the center. And we can do it. This country knows how to run itself.
All right, Suniti. And we do have online at this time the political leader of the ILP, Mr. Jack Warner. Mr. Warner, good evening.
Good evening, sir. Good evening.
Mr. Warner, how do you see these new developments announced by the Prime Minister this evening?
Well, I am very, very disappointed. Like I said rest of Trinidad and Tobago. Because what the Prime Minister has brought before us tonight is another pick of sides. And what we have thought, the Prime Minister had a last opportunity to make a clean break and to begin a fresh administration. But she failed to do that. For example, she brought in Gavin Nicholas as AG. I must confess that I am forced to ask, to say in fact, that this is an AG who is seriously need of legal advice. He has had no respect in the legal fraternity whatsoever, but today he's AG. Then she spoke about moving Griffith. Griffith's only fault is that he spoke the truth, like Stacey O'Brien did against Sir John Michel. And they both paid the price for it now. Then the Senate President has been removed as a senator. Under what condition? I don't understand. And then again, I asked questions too about the couple who has been elected and for 4.5 years has been in the wilderness. And she has been minister in the mission of the people. Today again, she has been bypassed. And Christine Lalaco is now home minister. Something has to be wrong. But most of all, she took up Brent Sancho, who up to yesterday was an employee of SIS, and became the Minister of Sport. How was one guy minister? Just so? I don't understand. And therefore, all I say to myself is, there has to be some bishop or some South place. I don't understand. I just don't understand.
Mr. Warner, the action taken against Annan Ram-Logan, long overdue, you think?
It's long overdue. But the fact that she took 5 days to do it, when she was going in 5 minutes after she came back, she will get no clothes for that. The Prime Minister came back last week, Thursday, and Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, she has had this country almost paralyzed to move one man who shall have moved for any one reason over the last 4 years. Any one reason. So don't expect to get any clothes for this. Unless she moves him and put another entity as the AG. Let him help this country.
Mr. Warner, just an aside now. Recently, there was a situation between you and the House Speaker in the Parliament. The House Speaker made recent statements about it, saying he apologized for it. How do you view this?
The Speaker has been very, very, I want to say very, very skimpish with the truth. And I tend to deal with this in my motion. On 5 grounds, the Speaker should have demitted office. But he hopes that this